Shalom, Israel. It's your brother New Breed coming through with another video. So the U.S. military was just given authority to utilize deadly force on United States citizens. Yes, it's true. See, back in 1887, there was a bill called the Posse Contaminants Act. And this particular bill was designed to ensure the safety of the United States citizens. You know, there were certain parameters and regulations that U.S. military troops had. And it was to protect the citizens in case they wanted to exercise the First Amendment, which is the right to protest. But unfortunately, this bill has been overthrown by the D.O.D. Bill number 5200.1 now gives the U.S. military legal right to execute United States citizens in the brink of what they call civil unrest. Now, I got a lot of questions. First and foremost, what is labeled and deemed civil unrest in this day and age? Who determines what civil unrest is when you got all kind of unrest going on in this country 2 to 3 times a year? I mean, is protesting considered civil unrest? I mean, what's the limitations here? So, all in all, there's still a lot of gray areas regarding this bill, but you can see how radical these policies in the United States are becoming.
Headline: U.S. military now is authorized to kill Americans on U.S. soil. That can't be possible.
Yeah.
This would open up the door for the careless use, and it's more frequent and legal. It'll be legal now, so nobody will have to worry about that. Send in the troops. We need you to shoot a couple of these people.
Yeah.
They're opposing our policies. They're demonstrating against rules or something they'll come up with. So I think it's very, very dangerous.
So here it is. Now it's a D.O.D. directive. So this is, the administrative state where they take over. They don't pass laws. They are laws unto themselves. Go to the next one if you can, because this is what they're talking about. And I went on and I read this secondly, and it talks about a reissued D.O.D. directive that was reissued just on September 27th, 2024. It governs the Department of Defense intelligence activities, and now...
And we like to shun people like Alex Jones, who was speaking about the tyranny going on in this country for a number of years. We like to slap the title conspiracy theorist on everyone who can see. Just because those other people out there, those sheeple, lack the Holy Spirit, lack understanding. But what it seems to me is that they're planning something. They're preparing for something, because you got to think about it. What level of civil unrest do they expect? Are they waiting for a purge to take place? Like, what else can happen where the people are going to wow out to the point they feel like they got to bring the military in with their AR-15s, carbine weapons, hand grenades, tanks, bulletproof vests, tear gas, mustard gas, all machine guns, all of it. What do they expect to happen? See, now we can sit here and we can hypothesize, and we can really consider what's going on in the land, and we can move accordingly, understanding that freedom ain't free. See, absolute power corrupts. And it seems that the so-called powers that be who rule, they have absolute power at this point. And they know that most people are heavily reliant on them. They know that they can spoon feed us. They know that there's not a lot of people who are self-reliant or even think like a person who's self-sufficient. So they're like, look, Once we corral them to the point of no return, then we can hit the button. We can flip the switch. And this is why we got to stay away from highly concentrated areas. I speak on that a lot. And you know what? Jaguar Wright happens to agree with me.
I don't want to start any chaos, but I know what's about to happen next. I've been preparing for it for the past 6 years. And a lot of it I've done out in the open. People see me come and go, but they don't know where I come and where I go.
Yeah.
What I do know is when I read the Bible, it does not lie to me. It says in the last days, leave the cities, go back out to the rural lands in the country, learn how to make your own food, because if you're attached to this system, they're going to own you.
Mm-hmm.
What's this country going to do when money doesn't work anymore? Because money is almost over. Then that means there has to be another system of barter and trade. Mm-hmm. Chips are coming, microchips.
She said something very pivotal about getting out of the cities. Now, look, the world won't be the same. This is the new norm. And what you must recognize and realize is that you can't be amongst the blind. You got to tap into the Holy Spirit, understanding that when people are all going left, you need to go right. That's a clear sign that the Holy Spirit is operating in you when everybody going left and you go right. Because I'm going to tell you, they're going to come up with more media proxies that are going to get people in their feelings. They do this all the time. It could be a unlawful death by the hands of a police officer. It could be a plethora of things that they do, but they typically do the same thing over and over. They could use their weather modification to cause unrest and then give the people a measly $750 and for support and relief. They could do all these kind of things, right? Just to get the people geared up for something. But when people go out there to march, when people go out there to protest, you got to understand that you got to know what you're getting yourself into at this point. I feel like the right to protest in America is going to be completely obsolete. There will be no way of people taking to the streets when things take place with the fear that the military is going to come through. So it's going to take the fight out of the people. It's going to take the fight out of the people once they see this actually happen. And better believe they're going to roll something out where they can actually perform what they just passed. Something's going to take place and you can't fall for it. You got to be in the spirit. You got to know that they like to rile people up, get them out there to set them up for the kill. Just like when Trump got on TV and he was like, we want y'all to march down to the Capitol. What happened when they marched down to the Capitol? There was people dropping like flies. There were officers that looked like military to me, even back then, that was lining people up. It was going down like that. So what does that mean? Don't let the media dictate how you move. You can't let these people get in your emotions and pull at your heartstrings. And they got a lot of tactics and they got a lot of semantics. And you got to be aware. You got to be tapped in. And what you do is you be proactive. You move accordingly. See, you got these people out here who are playing God, but you got to be tapped into the real Most High God. You know, you got this AI rolling out where these microchips are going to allow people to be able to see who couldn't see, hear who couldn't hear. They're literally playing Christ. They're playing the Most High. They're performing their miracles. You don't want to be caught up in these places and these areas that are going to be smart cities and 15-minute cities, because passing a bill like this shows me that they're ready to do whatever it takes to make the people surrender. That's what it's all about. It's all about taking the heart, taking the fight out of the people, and you're being under complete control like communist China. where you can't post certain things, you can't say certain things without fearing for your life. That's what it looks. That's what it's looking like. Imagine in the United States, if they deem something civil unrest, they can bring the military in. Now, I personally believe there's an event coming. It may be the next pandemic. It may be artificial intelligence taking jobs and people finally decide to protest on a vast scale. Or it may be, more inclement weather that's going to cause people to seek answers. I seen a video not too long ago of a laser beam literally crashing into a city, and these energy weapons are very real. They have these things. That's what happened in Hawaii, an energy weapon. They can get found out. People can find out about that. People can find out about a lot of things. It could be an uproar, believe it or not, based on Hollywood falling. Because that's going to affect a lot of people, a lot of people's pockets. It can get crazy because the underground tunnels are being exposed. It's a lot of things that can happen that can cause civil unrest. That's the point I'm trying to make. But who's to determine whether or not it's at a scale where the U.S. military can come in with all their weaponry, with all their skills, with all their war tactics, and actually carry it out on U.S. citizens? It's an utter travesty, y'all. It's sick, and all we can do is get on our own land. In one of my previous videos, somebody asked me, well, you're talking about the problems. What's the solution? Well, the solution is getting among like-minded people where you can govern yourselves. You can police your own community, your own environment. And when when these world events take place, you're not in the midst of these cities and you don't really have to deal with it. You got your own place. You got your own place to go. You got your own refuge with your own families who are linked in, plugged in, who look out for each other. You ain't got to rely on these people for food in case of emergency. You ain't got to rely on them for water. This is the ideal situation for God's people at this point. And if you're not at that point, get there. A lot of us are not at the point where we have that yet. But that is the way. That is the way. The Most High said himself in the scriptures. Well, Christ said it. He said, plant ye gardens and eat the fruit thereof. Build ye homes and dwell therein. And at some point, we got to get to that point where we start building for ourselves instead of building for this system that is rapidly declining. That's what it all boils down to. It may be my generation or the next, but we got to at least open our minds, expand our minds, and think differently and begin to walk that walk, right? Begin to do things that will sustain you in the long run, because America out here tweaking. They can actually take out their own citizens. You really can't make this stuff up, people. But look, I wanted to come through with this quick video. Look, y'all have a blessed afternoon. Be safe out here. With that being said, shalom and peace.